I have to talk about Baby Reindeer.
Yes.
So like you
Yeah.
must be firstly you must be so proud to be such a big part of it.
Yeah.
Were you the lead stylist or
Yeah, so I was head of costume for Baby Reindeer.
and that is come on, that's amazing. It's the biggest show in the world right now.
Yeah, that's very surreal. Thank you. Yeah, I pinch myself every day thinking about that. Like, no offense, like it's part of history for 2024. Like that is the biggest TV show, and knowing that things like got 100% Rotten Tomatoes and all of those like things, what's come with it, all of the fame, if you want to call it, or the notoriety stuff, which is great. But knowing, yeah, that I was part of that,
Mm.
yeah, has definitely put a lot of eyes on me, which is very overwhelming that
Yeah.
I'm not used to in that way. But for the right reasons, do you know what I mean? So people realizing that, well, he's doing something right. And I think when you can see a world-made show, and it's not just the costume, it's the hair and makeup, it's the production design, it's the direction, all of it together cohesively, we all work so hard on that show, and you can now see why
Yeah.
what's happened with that. But yeah, being head of costume for that was an experience. I remember when got confirmed for prior to getting the interview stages and getting so close to it, and it was my birthday, and I just turned 33, and I had this massive party right at the end of it. I just broke down, started crying. And I think my friend's like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "I just can't do it. I can't do it." I'm like, "This job is too long." I'm like, "It's 20 something weeks." And then even to think the job even got longer than that. And just thinking, when I remember when we started, just thinking, am I really ready for this? Can I do this? And having those conversations with my agent and them believing in me. And to think, yeah, we did it. And at the end of it, Richard, the producer's like, mate, you just smashed it. We can't say anything. There was never a bad day. And so, yeah, looking back at it, it's like, wow, we did that. But now I'm eager and hungry for something more now. I
Yeah.
feel like after working on the show for that length of time and giving it my 100% every day, and having such a great team as well. It's not just myself. There was like my supervisor, Imogen, Daniel, Georgia, Phoebe, like my standbys and trainee. Like we were a little team. And then on top of that, there was other days when we had our dailies who come in,
Mm.
and then we had Inca and the Charger Diego who made the suit for us. So there was other elements to the costume team, but it all falls on me no matter what.
Yeah.
And I'm the one that got to do all the meetings and present every day to the producers and directors, and making sure everyone in the team is happy and coming in every day and taking on their weight. And it's no matter what, you still got to smile and push through it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the constant, one week it's 4 a.m. starts, then the next week it might be night shoots, and then one week you're off, and then you're back on, and then you're driving to every part of London in the morning and packing up. It was a long job, but I loved every part of it, especially working with Martha, Jessica Gunning. She was just creme de la creme. Like, she's so professional,
Mm.
like so talented. It's like she ate the real person and then gave it even more on top. And again, she reminds me of working with Kelly, being so involved of that artistry level, when someone isn't just, okay, I'm gonna wear this today. From the fitting, well, me and Jessica actually had a dinner first, or like a little tea, before even starting fittings, and just to meet each other, to familiarize ourselves with each other and understand her safe place with body shapes, how she wants to be, how she envisions Martha, how I envisioned the character. And then from the fitting throughout, and then even through filming, just to be like, it's like, do you know what I mean? Like, what do you think here, or why she feels certain things shouldn't be that? Do you know what I
Mm.
mean? Like, we really work so closely together. Yeah, she's a star.
No, she is an incredible actress, and one of the most amazing things about Baby Reindeer was the way it looked,
Mm.
and you are such a pivotal part in the way it looked. So Richard Gadd was right; you absolutely smashed it.
Thank
Like,
you. Yeah.
yeah, it looked so authentic, so real. Like when you watch it, you're just like there in that
Mhm.
world, and the characters feel so authentic.
Yeah, I think that was the key thing, especially I knew from the beginning, was that I never wanted that to be, oh, we just bought stuff off the shop, like floor, and like, hell no.
Yeah,
So what other way could anything really be true and so honest to that time period, and also just visually, was by secondhand. And a lot of it, well, yeah, majority of that whole show was secondhand shopped or charity shopped, or from my grand's wardrobe, or from my best mate's bag that he just had sitting in a wardrobe. Do you know what I mean? Everything, I just wanted to look like real clothes that had been worn years by years. So it's not as, do you know what I mean? It has character to it. And that was thankfully why having a long prep managed to really hone in on that.
Can you tell me about creating Martha, the character, your inspiration and your process in actually bringing her to life?
The beginning process, I'm not sure if I'm ever allowed to share the true pictures, but I actually somewhat became a stalker myself. I was always in Stoke Newington, and every area I might see a woman or a lady who somewhat in my mind looked or gave me by just how she dressed a Martha reference, and I'll slyly take a picture. Or some people I would ask for a picture, and there were moments I didn't, or and I built this little catalogue of images, and then I immersed myself into the real Camden space. I went to the Holy Arms, and then on top of that, on references from old films and TV shows, different characters. Again, he gave me that image of what Martha could be, and then once we understood the tones and the colors, the palette, putting that all together, and then that was okay. This is Martha. This is how I see her. This mishap, this broken prints, and it's put together in her mind, but it's actually not put together when you look at it as a viewer. These prints, and there was this predatory element through the animal prints, and these little connotations behind why. Well, then there's the colors and always the flowers to her childhood. And there's the brooches and all those little staple things that you're like, why does she have that? It doesn't make sense. But again, it's Martha. It would, or these little odd bags that, she's really dressed up herself to make her feel at her best. So the joy is in like the charity shopping. You'd walk in certain days and there'll be like nothing there. I'm like, oh, next one.
Yeah.
Next one. And then I'd walk into some and be like, there it is. That's the bag. Or that's the top.
Yeah.
And I'd start jumping around in the middle of the shops. People look at me crazy. They'd be like, what's going on? Like, you just don't understand what's going on right now in my mind. Do you know what I mean? Because when you see, especially like the top that you see a lot of used in the promo shots, that kind of patchwork Chanel-esque kind of jacket with the green and the pink and the red, when she's in the cafe and she bangs her hands on the table. I remember the day I found that, I was like, there it is. There it is. There it is.
And most of this is charity shops.
Yeah, like 95% of Jessica stuff, like the little things like tights underneath for online shopping, or like what else it was online for Jess, like bras, things like that. Do you know what I mean? That her day-to-day things, like undergarments and things like that. But the costume on the outside, yeah, was all charity shop. And like, no offense, like, let's be real, Jess isn't, some size 6 girl, pin-up girl. So even that, when you go to charity shops, it just also reminds you of how much, I guess, or I don't know, it's just highlighted. It's interesting that the availability of body size or range in different charity stores. Most of the time, there's always just like a little rail, and then different areas, then you'd see more. So South London, for some reason, had so much more variety. Yeah, for plus size women, as opposed to North London, I found. And that was definitely, especially West London, most of the time was the guys. I found more stuff for like Darien in West London, like Search, like Fulham and Putney. So whenever, I did it, like whenever we changed location for our base, then I would always go to those charity shops close by to be close to set enough. But then that's where I would prep, reach close. Yeah. But then days when I'm like, we still need more for like Martha, I'll just do postcode to postcode. And I found a lot of time I was in South London, like Streatham, or like Penge, Beckenham. Like, yeah, I found more options there for her.
Yeah.
But even like in Kingston Road, I went down all those charity shops.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's so wild to think that like maybe I was shopping next to you and then you were buying an outfit for Martha. And how closely were you working with Richard Gadd in terms of him signing stuff off?
The amazing Richard Gadd. Richard Gadd is the dream. So again, right from the beginning, I think he was on probably like the last of my interviews, very loosely. I met him then, and then it was again me and him. I went to his flat to meet him, spent like a couple of hours with him, just talking to him, getting to know him know me, talking about our work, talking about Baby Reindeer, talking about everything really. To also talk about Donny, how he sees Donny, and what is Richard's real wardrobe, and what is Donny, how did they cross over. And yeah, Richard was again the dream of working on everything. Every top made sense to him. Why is it this green? No, not that green. This red. This no. You know, he's a pub guy. He just works in a pub, so you're not going to be going dressed dripping in designers. But I think, again, and even him putting himself, trying to not be seen on TV glossy, because a lot of actors sometimes they still want to be their best, even though they know the character isn't that, but they're going to try and push for, and just being true to the character as much as possible. And then I guess the elements where we do have fun with the costume was the suit. So that was amazing to build that from scratch, and working with a pattern cutter and working with a Chada Jago, and, you know, like sourcing all the fabric. So literally, again, 1,000,001 fabric stores, going all around London trying to find that right tartan, the right orange and the right tones of it. And we tried every combination. Initially, the blazer was meant to be huge, then it was meant to be small, then the shoulders were meant to be 80s, then it was boxy. There was so many back and forths on that blazer. And then the trousers.
Is this when he's doing stand-up?
Yeah, so that suit that you see throughout. Then that suit initially was meant to have loads of pockets in it, then it wasn't. Then it was meant to be baggy, then it wasn't. So people just think, oh, it's just a suit you guys got made. I'm like, guys, if only you knew that there was so many stages and conversations about that one suit. And then once we confirmed on that and started to get that made, then it was about the different colours shirts underneath. And even those small little things, the different stages where he was mentally or where he was as himself, why we chose those colours. And throughout the show, there's no blue used. Only time you see blue is when Richard wears blue. So again, even those little small moments, and why was that done and purposely done, and what was that the reason? So yeah. And then to spend all that money, getting the suit made, we had to get 2 or 3 of them made, and then to break it down. So you get the suit made, and then, all right, let's grater it down, let's spray it down, let's make it look dirty, because it's not brand new. He's had this for years, and he would have found that in a charity shop. So when you look closely, you can see it's frayed at the corners and all of that, and that's, again, purposely done. So that was a joy in itself of we just got this made, like, let's make it look, yeah.
Because how much would Richard have gone, like, this is what I wore at this time of life, for you to kind of like maybe even use his own wardrobe?
Yeah, so for Richard himself, there was like, he showed me, like, when I went to his house, his flat, he showed me some of his stuff from his comedy props and stuff like that. But yeah, it was just taking some influences from it and then like making it our own.
Yeah.
That was the fun side too. I think having that free reign and not being so, this is it, you have to copy this or emulate that somewhat.
And then the reaction from the show has been absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
So when you were actually making it, did you know, like, you obviously got the call Baby Reindeer, you'd had the schedule. So before the show came out on Netflix, I'd never heard of Baby Reindeer, but it was a big show in Edinburgh.
Yeah.
Was it something you were did you know what it was before you signed up to it?
No, I didn't. I once signed up to it, then doing my research and what my agency told me, obviously it was like a show, as you said, in Edinburgh, and which done very well for Richard. And then that I didn't even get to see that. So besides reading the script, all I just saw was kept Googling this #1 hit for a theatre piece as a one-man show. And knowing that, it's his true life story, which now Netflix and him have built to a TV series. Throughout it, like, even I remember filming it, people were like, what's this show that you're filming? I'm like, why are you not free? You're always busy.
Yeah.
What's this Baby Reindeer? I'm like, guys, trust and believe it's going to be good. And I just thought it was a great written show, and just the story itself was so gripping. And I think of what it shows, the other side of it, a female stalking a guy when you're so used to it being a man to a female. So for many of those reasons, I definitely felt it was going to do great. Didn't realize how great it was, but for Richard and for everybody, do you know what I mean? It's kind of, did not imagine that one bit at all. I remember it coming out and so eager to like, when is it coming out? When is it coming out? And they had like a long edit, and then when they finally set the date and told us. And it's funny actually, because always before it comes out, there's a cast and crew screening. And this year, by coincidence, I was nominated for a Arrow Award, and it was on the same night as the screening. So
you missed the screening?
I was like, well, what do we do here, Tara and Mabel? Do we go to the Arrows? Do we go to the screening? And we decided to go to the Arrow Awards. So yeah, I missed the cast and crew screening. So for me, I would have saw it in advance to the world. So the same time that you saw it on Netflix.
Wow,
I saw it. So like all my team went, or most of them, and like they've all seen it, and I'm like, don't tell me, but do tell me.
Yeah.
I was like, what I want to know is that is there any mistakes? Like,
Yeah.
so even me watching it the first time, it was just me watching it for continuity,
Yeah.
making sure there was no errors costume wise, and once there wasn't, I was like, phew, we done our job.
Yeah.
I've watched it twice since, and I still can't watch it properly because my eyes, it's hard for me watching most things anyway nowadays.
Yeah.
Because my eyes just always look at it through a costume lens, or always looking for a mistake or complimenting the colors here. So I find it hard to watch films in a different way. Yeah.
And if you worked on it, you know the bones of it. So you can kind of like see in the background,
Yeah.
you'll be like, I was stood just over there.
Yeah.
So it kind of, it's hard to watch your own project back, I imagine. But I'm sure that, it's such a well-made piece of work.
Yeah.
I'm sure you were like absolutely thrilled and that everyone was just telling you how good it was.
Yeah, still to this day, even like wherever I go and someone's like, or walks into a room, or they know I've worked in it, or I meet someone like, congratulations, I'm like, thank you.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of that recently, which is again great, but just very just not used to that.
Yeah.
But on top of that, the costume now is on display as well in LA.
Wow.
The Emmys have this activation thing prior to the Emmys where they choose their best Netflix shows that they really are going to push. And yeah, my costume's on display, my name there. I'm thinking it's right next to these huge other shows. I'm thinking, wow. So yeah, they're really pushing the costume in that suit, and Netflix, the PR team themselves, have been very supportive and like been pushing that for me. Yeah, so let's see what's next.
Amazing. As a gay person watching it as well, it kind of took me by surprise how many queer storylines there are in it. So it's been interesting to see the response from queer audiences. What's your opinion on it? And like, obviously being a gay man yourself, and was that something that you knew before it started, or?
Yeah, again, like knowing that in the story, like reading the scripts. So we had like the main read through, and you go through all the scripts, and read through as a cast together. So knowing in its entirety the complexities to that also, it was another thing as to why I want to be involved in this story, to tell stories like that and to really push that. And being a gay man myself, anything that, amplifies our community, I'm all for it, done in the right way. And to work with Nava, who plays Terry, again, another dream, just like Jess. That's one thing about Baby Reindeer. Honestly, it was just such a great job to work on. Like the whole cast and crew, everybody was great. But no, Nava was a dream. She was fun. Like separate to being Terry, like just, in the fit-ins. Nava was an interesting character because the original way how, if you looked at my boards for Nava compared to Martha and Donny, so far removed from the end result. So I guess in the pilot episode, how Nava came across, there wasn't much to her, and it was kind of loose. Well, where do we go with this trans person, and understanding her style or who she really was in his life? And I guess it wasn't until I got all the other episodes that we realized there's so much more to that character. But definitely her costume was not the original idea. If anything, she would have been a lot more tomboy, to realize, and she played more into her femininity in that way, and the colors. And then we realized, okay, it's going to be these little crop tops and skirts. There's this baby doll element to her. There's this tease, but subtly. But then her flip side to her life, she is quite conformed as well and put together. But we could have fun with Nava, and definitely a dream to work with.
Yeah, and I guess like after now you're you're all mates with these people in the show, so you like can chat about it and like
loose mates. Funny actually. Me and Richard, we actually work out a few times. We work out together now. That's our thing. Fitness and Nando's. Yeah,
fitness and Nando's. I mean, God, if he goes into a Nando's, he must get absolutely swarmed nowadays.
I haven't actually seen him since
the release,
but up to the release, literally, a week before the release was the last time that we worked it out together.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure his life right now, it must be manic.
Yeah, oh my God, yeah, like, so, and also for someone like him, he was a pretty much unknown, so then suddenly like being given this huge platform to tell his story, which is about his life. It must have been such an overnight shift in his life.
Definitely don't know what, I can't speak for Richard, but from the outset, yeah, it must be, I think, a lot for all of them. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, the show has done a lot in different ways. So the press and everyone wanting to ask questions, everyone wanting to know information, that must be quite exposing, I'm assuming.
Definitely.
But, you know, Richard is more than capable, I'm sure, to be the man for it.
Yeah.
You know, his story is a true story, so I commend him so much for sharing that with the world and what he's done with it.